When you receive your freshly machined cylinders and new pistons back from our CMC machining service, each cylinder has been machined to a specific piston. These pistons will be marked with letters or numbers to indicate what cylinder that your piston goes into. Pistons are marked for the cylinder from the perspective of you sitting on the motorcycle. So, for example, if you have a twin cylinder motorcycle, your pistons will be marked L and R for left and right. Now, if you have a 4-cylinder, the pistons will be marked with 1 through 4, with the number 1 cylinder beginning on the left side. If you have any questions about what cylinder your new pistons go to, please reach out to our support link over at the Common Motor website. To begin installing the pistons, be sure that the gasket surfaces, pistons, piston components, and connecting rod small ends are completely clean. Before installing the pistons, you should have already gone through and thoroughly washed the cylinders, installed the cylinder base O-rings, checked the piston ring gaps, and installed them onto the pistons. If you haven't done any of these jobs, go back and see our video that relates to each one of these. First, install the wrist pin clip on the inner side of the piston. For example, we would install the left wrist pin clip onto the right side piston because it faces the inside of the engine. Installing the inside wrist pin clip is easiest done right now while the pistons are still on the bench. When you go to install the wrist pin clip, the opening on the wrist pin clip should face away from the small groove in the piston. Be sure to check that the wrist pin clip is fully seated in the groove. Once the inside wrist pin clips are installed, apply a small coating of oil to the wrist pins and the inside of the small end of the connecting rod. Before installing the pistons onto the connecting rod, fill any opening in your engine with rags or paper towels. The last thing you want to do is drop a tiny metal clip or a wrist pin into the engine. Line up the piston over the connecting rod and slide in the wrist pin so that it goes through one side of the piston, through the connecting rod, and then seats against the wrist pin clip on the other side of the piston. The clip acts as a stop to properly locate the wrist pin, and you'll know when it's fully seated when the outer wrist pin clip groove on the piston is visible. Install the outer wrist pin clip as you did the inner, and make sure that the opening again faces away from the small groove in the piston. If you're working on a 4-cylinder engine, like the CB550 or CB750, you want to install the 2 inner pistons and wrist pin clips before moving on to the 2 outer pistons. Once all the pistons are installed, you're ready to move on to installing the cylinder jugs.